Well, you're very welcome along to the unit this evening. I am here and I am doing a little bit of pole maintenance. So we have here a univalve, and I am changing the pole hosing because it's been on there for a long time. There was a small little split that I repaired, and so I just thought, you know what, it's time, for the sake of a few quid, of getting a brand new pole hosing out. So I thought while I was at it, I would do a little bit of kind of much needed repair and maintenance on the poles. And there's loads of other good videos on it. I know Squeaky Clean Dave has done a really good video on it. So this is my Gardner SLX27, and so I've taken the pole apart, I've run the hose through, I've cleaned with a cloth where the clamps are on the inside, because that can be, if there's grit kind of on those bits, it can wear. And I have cleaned all the poles, wiped them down. They get really dirty around kind of the taped areas at the bottom. Right, so what Gardner recommends as well is getting a something like this. It's a silicone lubricant spray, and they advise just giving a light spray and then to leave them to dry. So I am going to swap that pole around to get to the other side of it. Again, it's not about going mad. And then leave that to dry, get the next section and do exactly the same. You can also as well change that tape there at the bottom, but I don't have to. So there's no need for me to show you everything. That's what I'm going to do to all the pole sections. I am going to let them then dry, and I'm going to show you then the fitting of the univalve onto the new pole. So that's what I'm going to do, guys. Right, so guys, what I have here is I have a brand new hosing. It's not very expensive, really cheap, from my supplier SureClean Systems. So, making this up, to go at the top of the pole hosing, I normally want about that much. That's what she said. So, I put that at the top of my univalve. The pull section always goes at the bottom, little O-rings. So, what you do is that has to go over that. Again, you can kind of heat it up, or you can do loads of different kind of bits and pieces. What I find easier first is to put that over it first, and then probably working in the shadow here and you're probably seeing hardly anything, and then twist that on. Now I suppose you could wet this, or you could put silicone on it or something like that first, but we're hardy bucks, so we don't really need to do any of that stuff, do we? So again, that is that all the way down to the base, like that, and that is how that is going to go. And then same for the other end. So grab another little O-ring here out of the pocket, put that onto there first, and then manhandle this onto here, while trying not to damage the univalve. And again, this probably is manhandling this to a certain extent. I could wet it, I'm sure, or I could do loads of things to make it a little bit easier, but that's not how we roll around here. Right, so there is that connected. Okay, so try not to stand in your light. What I do now is I place that roughly about there, and I use these O-ring pliers, crimps, whatever you want to call them. Give it a bit of a squeeze on that side so it looks a bit like that. Go around the other side and give it another little squeeze. Again, as you can see, that is how I do it, and I don't get any leaks. I don't want to necessarily go any tighter than that, because at the end of the day we still are only going onto plastic. So I love the smell of WD-40. I have used some on these pliers because they were a bit stiff from sitting around in the van. So yeah, so I'll go about there, I'd say. So that is the pole completely back together. The silicone has gone off on the inside. Again, it provides a little layer. For how long, I don't really know, but I suppose having the pole clean, it's all the grit and stuff on the inside, and any bit of turning that acts as sandpaper. But my gooseneck here is completely locked solid into the first section. So sometimes what I do when I am trying to fish the hosing through, I sometimes put a drill bit on the end of it, and it's not going to do it now because I'm on video, but I feed that down, and I normally, he says, get the drill bit through, which funny enough today I'm not, because it's acting, aha, there you go. So again, I sometimes find that a little bit handier than just trying to get it through when it is completely and utterly jammers. That's the brush that I like to use. It is a Gardner Super Light brush. So that's what I do. The next thing I do is I get a little zip tie, and my suppliers even do it this way, and I put that onto there like that. Kind of a little bit tricky on camera. I think that not too proud, because then it can just be a bit of it. This is like, especially I suppose if you use the univalve, which you should, because you save a crap ton of water in the day. And then snippy, and there is a brand new hose with a brand new connection, and there is the end of that hosing there. And when you weren't looking, when you were sleeping, I put on that new connector, and it's just as simple as crimping that there and there. Again, while I'm out and about in the van during the day, I always have those with me just in case. I have a spare parts box on in there, in which I have loads of stuff like clips, these, and basically any spare parts. You know, clips for the pole itself, new connections, new T-connectors here in case one snaps off a wall or something stupid like that, all up in a box on the top of the shelf. So guys, that is how I change my pole hosing.